one of this best of 3. So switching best of 3s here. Again, TY time is still ongoing. Just I wanted to do the INnoVation game. I kind of had my eyes on this from the start of the bracket, so I wanted to not miss this at all. It's very rare we kind of skip out of a series to do something else, but we will take advantage of that option here today. As in the top right of the map, our red Terran player from Kaizi Gaming. This is INnoVation. Up against the blue Protoss player on the bottom left-hand side. Let's hear it for Dia. For cheering on the Protoss madman. Dia really stepped it up a little bit. Dia's a player, well, I say he stepped it up a little bit. He's a player who keeps stepping it up, and then he almost then flops straight away afterwards again as well. So, kind of interested to see what actually will come out of this. Really intrigued to see what kind of becomes the plan here. As this probe makes its way up in toward the main base, you're going to see SCV going to take a little bit of a nibble there initially. So a little bit of a fight going down. Reaper is on its way out from INnoVation. Nexus dropping in from Deer as well. Cybernetics core will also start. It's going to be seeing this Nexus making its way through here, and just going to be seeing the probe going to get pushed away by the SCV, which is having a little bit of a fight. So SCV does start to win this out. And Dia just, again, some early info, just sees the CC, gets confirmation of that. INnoVation confirms that this is an expansion. There's nothing crazy going on here, which is obviously big positive as well, all things considered. Always nice to avoid any sort of trouble in that regard, as I've got the SCV now making its way back up the center of the map, and the Reaper of INnoVation going to hop up to going towards this main base. Reaper hops up, comes back down, has a little bit of a move around, shimmying around the place here. Twilight Council is on its way from Deer as well, so again that Twilight up and running as the Reaper gonna take a few more shots. The Adepts doing some decent damage there. Once that finishes up, morphs into an orbital command, and just gonna see the starport finishing in this main base as well as the Twilight. Gonna give Dia the option to go into Blink in the early stages, which is obviously one of the important ones. So we're gonna be getting in towards that Blink pretty soon. Give Deer a lot of map control early, and perhaps, you know, the ability to kind of clean up the first Widow Mine drop quite nicely as well, depending on your Stalker positioning. Gonna keep our eyes out for that in the next little while already. As the Reaper's gonna hop up into the main base again, and it will get the Scout of the Twilight, so just double checks that's there, and full information for INnoVation in the first few moments of Eternal Empire. The next stage of this for INnoVation then is the Widow Mine drop, and as he makes a lot of Marines, he's actually sending these Marines very far forwards. It looks like he wants to try and intercept a unit as it comes up this ramp. Now, the Adept stayed at home. Nothing came across the map here early from DS. He's been very passive. In the end, INnoVation decides to move back. He's actually going to send one Widow Mine by foot. So what happens in this scenario is we see the Marines, were they trying to get in the medevac? Looks like they weren't. What happens in this scenario is because you've got one Widow Mine on the ground, it's a Widow Mine you don't really expect to see as the Protoss player. So you're fully on paying attention to like the medevac drop, and if a Widow Mine just walks into your natural, it can realistically do a lot of damage. Like, you'll be surprised, and it's something that TY started doing initially, I think, and then other Terran players have picked this up as a little something you can do. So here we go, as again your focus is going to be on the medevac drop going in towards the main base. Then the Widow Mine just wanders into the natural expansion. Are you paying attention over there? Well, yes, you are. Even pulls the probe. So Dia's not going to be fooled by it, as this medevac does find its way into the main, however. No boost available for it just yet, as it gets one probe. Now boost available, and we'll be able to just unload to force some lost mining time in the natural expansion. And gets another probe. So that's 2 probes killed from INnoVation's Widow Mine drop. So 3 mines, 2 probes. Not the craziest, not the best. So that will be that for the moment. Did you see a couple of forges researching away being corona boosted here? So 1-1 upgrades on the way up. Stalker's pulling back out up to the top of the map. You see the Immortal coming in from Deer. The 1-1 upgrades, the charge on the way. All that good stuff as the pylon comes in on the right-hand side. The rest of these Stalkers from Deer going to be coming up in towards the natural expansion. I'm just going to see the siege tank pretty good to push this back for the moment as well. So nothing too crazy there. Did you just see our 1-1 upgrades coming in from INnoVation? He has that Raven also. Now, here's the big thing for INnoVation. He does have a third base, so he will be taking that. It's not just going to be an all-out 5-rack. So he does have the economy to work with here eventually. So we'll see him hopefully soon start in the armories as well. There is still a few 3-base SCV pulls you can do. I don't really feel there's any reason for INnoVation to be doing that here. He didn't really do like crazy amount of damage in the early stages of the game, which is oftentimes what you're looking for in those sort of scenarios, because you're usually looking to try and say, oh, I want to see like a bunch of, you know, damage early, and then I'm far enough ahead I can pull the workers just to end the game nice and quickly, right? So that's one way of looking at this. We do see the Marines wrestling forwards up this side. Our command center here from INnoVation going to land into position, and a few Stalkers also thinking about maybe come forwards as well. And the rest of these Stalkers pulling back. Nexus from Dia dropping down on the bottom side. Yeah, continuing out over to the right as we do see INnoVation going to make the play forwards. A few Marines, Marauders, and tanks setting up. Observer gets sniped down. A couple High Templar here have Storm ready to go. Hits a feedback on the Raven is always a great start. This is an interesting fight because I feel like INnoVation is actually not that worried about it until the Storm kicks in. I mean, that was just bad from Inno. I mean, you know these are High Templar. You just got your Raven feedback, and there was more than once. It's not just like, oh, maybe you just made one High Templar for the feedback. No. You should know that's going to be a Storm, and that was him just sitting very clumped up and not looking pretty at all as that Storm lands and does a lot, and I mean a lot, of damage. Going to be seeing a couple extra depots dropping down. Robobay finishing, given the Colossus. 2-2 upgrades now on the way out as well in the Forges. Again, that going as you see Stalkers blinking in. A Marine will be picked off right away. And the Prism from Deer up the top side will be wanting to come across towards the main base as well, I imagine. So War Prism going to come across in toward the main. As you see, the Stalker gets picked off at the front as well. We do see the rest of this army from INnoVation. These medevacs coming around the front. There goes the Prism into the main base as a Marauder trying to deal with these few Zealots. And there is a real lack of units here. INnoVation just types GG. Hang on. Did I miss this a little bit? I'm gonna have to be really quick with this. Did we miss INnoVation losing like his army? Did these medevacs just do nothing at all? Yeah, INnoVation into game number 2 on the bottom right hand side. Our red Terran player down a map. It is INnoVation. And in the top left, our blue Protoss player here. So the winner of this will play a TY in the semi-finals. And then elsewhere on the bracket, it's still looking very Zerg heavy on the bottom of the bracket. No updates from Swordov or Estrella or Rogue or Cham. So, still waiting to hear. This was a bit of a smaller bracket than usual for the Kung Fu Cup, by the way. It's likely to happen as you build up in toward Katowice. It's not too surprising to see this be a thing, so yeah, not don't be too shocked when you're like, oh my god, the players are stopping playing in the Kung Fu Cup. They will slow down their participation, building up to Katowice, and once Katowice is done, they'll likely return. Early probe scout from Dia across into the main base to have a look to see just what's going on. As you do see, the SCV just taking a little bit of a nibble. Nexus from Dia drops down over on the natural expansion. We do see the SCV of INnoVation making its way across the map to also scout, so INnoVation, not being too greedy, is looking to keep information early on. If Dia wins this, then we get a PVT in the semifinals as well, which is also quite nice, and very likely a XVZ on the bottom of the bracket, so then we have a Zerg in the finals likely. So it's actually setting us up for a nice little collection of different matchups here today, which is always great. As you see, there's SCV scouting around up into the main, Nexus dropping onto the natural expansion, Marine production still continuing, and the command center from INnoVation continuing through as well. Warp gate starting up from Diaz. So getting that warp gate up, rolling. You see the single Reaper from INnoVation continuing to make its way up into the main base. So hopping up and continuing forwards, we will see the probes chase back from the start. As the Adept pops out, the Reaper will be chased. And Reaper comes around, just looking to see what's going on. As that Twilight Council builds up into the main here. So getting that Twilight Council up and running as the Reaper hops up in towards the main. Is going to make its way towards this mineral line, and the Sentry is going to be well, dealing some pretty decent damage to this Reaper. So the Reaper taking some shots. The Adept shades in and pops that Reaper down. So the Reaper will fall, as we do have the Adept of Dia making its way out down to the bottom right-hand side. Orbital command from INnoVation going to be setting up onto the natural expansion. You're going to see there's Adept still making its way over. A couple of Marines just going to be picking their way through this Adept already, which gets a full scout off. So yeah, just really committing this through to kind of get some information early in the game, and he sees everything, right? He sees the full setup, no add-ons over here, so very likely a Widow Mine drop. Hallucinated Phoenix to rescout as well. As that moves its way down towards the natural expansion, is going to go down in the end as well. Now the Blink starting up on the Twilight Council, so getting that Blink up and running. As the robotics facility setting up in the main base too. The third Nexus from Dia, sorry, going to drop down over to the right-hand side. I'm just going to be seeing the medevac, couple Widow Mines heading up the left to see what's going on. Widow Mine continuing into the center. INnoVation just continuing to boost up and across the map. So yeah, this medevac continues to boost along and is going to go in towards the main base. Couple of Widow Mines looking to unload, and there's the couple. As we do have the one trying to walk into the natural, but it feels like Dia's been very well practiced against this at this stage, right? As these Widow Mines just double checking, they got 3 kills in total. As you see, the Stalker is able to fire, and yeah, one medevac getting out alive is kind of crazy. Bunker sets up from INnoVation at the front. We'll see 2 more forges dropping down from Dia in the main base. Stalkers continuing down to the bottom right. The SCVs continue to drop down, so already Stalker's picking up some damage. Refinery taking some shots as well. All the turrets gonna drop as the Marines continuing over, and we will see the Stalkers taking a bunch of damage. So Stalker's taking a lot of hits. 1-1 upgrades coming through. Charge on the way on the Twilight Council as well. A couple extra gates coming into play. I'm just going to be seeing the rest of these gateways all continue to build up right now, so it's a lot of numbers building in the main base. We have the 1-1 coming through, the charge coming through. And yeah, he does play extra gases, so he is looking to play tacking up a little bit soon enough. Looking to go in towards the further choices. I mean, right now just pumping out Immortals, but yeah. the double forge as well, right? Initially, that eats up a little bit of extra gas too, so building up for that. You see a little bit of bio coming along the left-hand side. So yeah, just kind of moving this around. Bio over to the left. Going to be seeing the orbital dropping down in the third base location as well. 1-1 upgrades, stim pack, combat shields, all the good stuff. INnoVation looking to get these upgrades into game so he can start pushing across the map and starting to try maybe deal some damage here. As the shield battery finishes up. I'm just going to be seeing our third base at I mean, for the moment, looking okay. I mean, he's going to get to that stage as well. There's the tech up, by the way, Robobay and the Temple Archives at the same time. So, again, was just taking those gases, was just teching up across the board. So, yeah, right now, just going to be seeing the War Prism just on its way out from Dia. Going to see +2 armor coming in on the Forges and +2 attack. And INnoVation a little late on the armory for 2-2, but getting the Ghosts up and this time really getting a proper response to what Dia is doing rather than just saying, oh, yeah, you know, I'll be fine. I'll just drop Medivacs and, oh, my God, I think it's stepping up into the middle here as to see the few Stalkers already taking a bunch of damage. Io's going to get the first Stalker already, and again, the rest of this from Dia just coming all the way up to the top side. Archon sets up from Dia over to the right, and just going to be seeing the extra supply depots from INnoVation dropping down as well. Enhanced shockwaves on the way up, extra ghosts coming through. Couple of Colossus in production also as the Marine continues to nibble its way through this Nexus. Just continue to try and deal damage here. As the Zalt comes charging on in, and the Marine gets sliced in half. That's a brutal death animation. Oh my God. I've never really paid attention to a Marine getting sliced in half by a Zalt, but it is actually quite graphic, huh? That's not what you want to see every day of the week. Oh my God. Ugh. You can go start casting a nicer game. Hello Kitty Island or something. My God, that was unnecessary. All right, here we go. Bio moving its way out into the center as INnoVation has the Ghosts up. So this is the kind of timing. I mean, INnoVation never started 2-2, by the way. He got the armory. Okay, he started +2 attacks. I apologize. He just started +2 attacks. So very late 2-2. He cancels the fourth base. INnoVation's absolutely hoping for some damage here. Has the Raven involved as well. Remember, he is going to drop Matrixes to take the Colossus out of play. He's going to kill the third base, I think. The position he gets himself into here, it's very hard to not kill the third base, right? I guess the Colossus are going to lose their Matrixes now. You're going to have 1 EMP left on the Ghost, but it goes down a bit too fast. INnoVation's still actually fighting a pylon here where he should be fighting the army. He is going to end up backing away. The fourth base has a few probes on it. As again, the Bioforce just turning and fighting, but eventually is turned away. He just doesn't have the Vikings to push back the Colossus. I really felt like this base was going to die. And he targeted like a couple different pylons first, and honestly, I feel like if he'd gone for the Nexus, he probably would have got it. Maybe would have lost like a couple extra units, but still gets the kill. So that I feel like that was a bit of a shame. I feel like he had a real opportunity there, and maybe was just playing it safe. I mean, it's hard to say. Hard to say. As you see our Stalkers pressing forwards, and Marina 2 getting picked away at, and Dia continue to back away into the center of the map. Bio units still setting up in the bottom right. A couple extra Ghosts coming through, Vikings coming into play. We do see the couple of Disruptors still being made right now. INnoVation, the game still feels good for him, right? I mean, he's got the Vikings coming up now. He is going into 2-2, so he's finally getting those upgrades. He's also even feeling comfortable enough to start making Liberoids. He doesn't have a ton of Vikings. There is 4 Colossus, so I would like to see like 10 to 12 Vikings, right? I mean, 6 doesn't really begin to even, you know, scratch the surface of that Colossus health. Tell you what, though, he is really missing information on the map, and he doesn't really see where INnoVation's armies are. He sees this one over here. There's actually quite a lot of bio here just kind of on its own. It might have to stim away. Meanwhile, though, big stim in that fourth base is in a lot of trouble. Recall is available, but do you recall into this? I don't think so. Recall into this is going to be really tough to really handle. So, as the first Archon shows up, do we have a fight that's going to happen here for INnoVation. He's going to be very close to taking that fourth base down. Doesn't get it yet. Backs away from the disruptor shots a couple times over. The Vikings are doing good damage. Despite their lower numbers, they are getting rid of the Colossus count. However, all the bios being cleaned up. And INnoVation's last few Vikings will go down. The fourth base of Dia survives, although it is now just a drop away from being killed. It's very low HP. I think this is good for Dia because look at how many disruptors remain alive. And what INnoVation did not have in this fight was the Liberators to really zone out those disruptors. And so he was just constantly having to kite backwards, split away. And that obviously didn't go very well at all, as you do see the Prism here. We're flying through the natural expansion. Stalker still coming down the left. Bayou still trying to stem on forwards. Disruptor shot. It's a Marine or a Marauder. So Plan B Forest is in trouble. And INnoVation not even starting to repair this as Dia. Again, just zoning out with the disruptors. Here come the Liberators. It says blink forwards. I mean, it's a debatable choice because INnoVation is just going to split the disruptors and start a fight those Stalks. And Dia is going to lose a lot because of it. But remember, INnoVation has lost his fourth base. If he hadn't lost the fourth base, maybe this wasn't so bad. Did he get all three of those four disruptors he targeted? Where was the recall? Oh, he did. So only one disruptor gets out alive. And INnoVation kills a lot in the latter stages here. He just needs a drop out up on the top, and he will kill this Nexus, and he will open up the game a little bit in terms of the economy. War Prism has not found a chance to do much at all, and it will be shut down now as well. So Prism falls as the Bio Army back out in towards the center. INnoVation moving into the middle of the map with the Bio as well. Medivac's joining up. You see some Stalkers and Immortals, Disruptors, all of this gathering up too. That probes come back up to the top of the map. So bringing those probes back up to the top side. Well, INnoVation, I mean, definitely did enough to get back in the game a bit there. But, again, he's missing economy. And missing the economy means he's not rebuilding as fast as he might like to. He's now got Libs, and his Libs have Liberator range. And that's going to change up defending this a lot when you're only playing Stalkers and Disruptors. And actually, this right now might be a bit of an issue. As we see Liberators here could absolutely zone out these Stalkers coming back across this bridge. The Disruptors are setting up a bit of a flank as well, so you've got to be careful here how you want to fight this as INnoVation. Those Disruptors flanking could do a lot. He's going to stim for the first one. He gets it, which means the second one's going to die as well, no doubt about it. INnoVation's still trying to make his way to the top right. Libs are going to get caught again, though. The Stalker's blinking forwards. He's just going to commit. Probably siege up behind him because he wants to slow down those Stalkers and also try and stop the Disruptors. First Disruptor ball coming through. It's not going to reach, and that's the issue. You can't fire the Disruptors far enough forwards here to actually reach the Bio. DTs at the same time across the map in the natural, and okay, that's just an observer. Don't get too excited. There was one DT in the natural, which is now cleaned up as well as INnoVation cleans out the probes on this base. INnoVation down 30 workers, but he has the compositional advantage. These Liberators are so much better than the Stalkers of his opponent, and that's what's happening. These Disruptors can't be used at the moment, as these Stalkers may just be in high enough numbers here, so that's going to force the Liberators to try and back away somewhere. They can get up to the top here. Maybe they can siege up a base, but INnoVation loses too much. INnoVation, again, he was having a good fight, but he just ran out of bio units on the ground at the end. Running out of bio and making his life a bit more difficult than it really needed to be. This Lib is going to siege up and try and pick away at a couple more probes. So 2 more probes going down there already, and now Dia, the rest of his army, making its way down to the bottom of the map as he sets up Stalkers, Disruptors. I mean, the Liberators will start a siege here for Inno. I'm still not convinced Inno is dead. Okay, now I am. I just, as if the Liberators were sieged up here, and I was like, well, maybe you can hold off the Disruptors a bit longer, but when you have the confidence to just blink in and just kill the Liberators and it works out, then yeah, he is dead. So yeah, I wasn't quite fully convinced. Maybe there was a way with the Libs, but no, absolutely not, says Dia. And that's going to be GG. Dia takes the 2-0 to eliminate INnoVation, and Dia will advance to the semifinals to play against